Financial wellness. Reach out to them for advice at 855-DON-GINO. And now back to your hosts, Don Getling and Gino Fronti.
Of interviews we've had with the best of the best, people that are heavily involved in your community, that care about you and are accountable to you, and share with us what you really need to know. And that's why we love having Mr. Bob Kellar, your mayor, in our show today. Thank you again for taking time out of your super busy schedule. We have to make sure we're ready to go right on time when we record, so you can get on time and go help our community right on time.
I was cutting it close today, but I did make it on time.
You did, and you keep us accountable. Trust me. You're like, chop, chop, let's go. Can I get this going? But thank you for your time, Bob.
Thank you.
You always share with us stuff that we should know more about, and that's why we like doing our show. Is we inform a lot of people, a lot of you out there. Hopefully, you hear our show when we have estate planners, financial planners, real estate. College planners, all this insider information that we learn from every time we have somebody on our show. We learn something, and that's why we put them all together in a group called America's Professional Resource Group. And you get find out more at aprgi.com. These are the best of the best in town. They are great people that give back to your community and are usually 20 to 30-year veterans. So they've kind of been around the block, kind of almost like you.
Almost. I've been around a couple blocks.
And I do have to bring up, because you give back so much to our community, but I do want to mention your great real estate firm, Kellar Davis Real Estate. 3 offices out here. You guys do a great job, because I love your people. They're just real.
Thank you.
They're very nice people. They really care. It's not your hustle and bustle and try to flashy this. You just care about your peeps and do a great job for them.
We try our best. I'm very proud of the agents that we have, and we keep in mind that the client always comes first, just as they do with your company, and that's the way it should be. And
I agree.
We enjoy the business that we're in.
Isn't it nice to be? I know you feel the same way I do, and that's why we love doing these shows together. Is that we have always been very accountable to our community and our clients now for many, many years out here, and you have to be accountable. Otherwise, you're gone in this town. You can't be successful unless you really care about your community.
And you're absolutely right. I'll just kind of jump in with a real quick comment. It's been about 4 or 5 mornings ago. I had an opportunity to go over to one of the elementary schools in the Saugus area, where they were recognizing a crossing guard, a gentleman, and for his 8 years of serving. And circumstances by his health has made it difficult for him to continue on. But in acknowledging that man, I made point that, the success of this community is because of the people that live here.
100%.
Across
Absolutely.
the board.
Mm-hmm.
And here, this gentleman has been a crossing guard. And he came up and he spoke, and I was so impressed with this man and how he described what it meant to him to be able to be a crossing guard and protect those children. You just never know where you're going to go, and something hits a button. And
What's the crossing guard's name?
That man hit my button. His name is Evan McDonald.
I think I love throwing out his name, because people that give back, that's awesome.
That's
Very
true.
cool.
It's true. I was just so impressed, and I was so honored to be there and be able to shake his hand.
That also goes to show is that every single person in this community is important, regardless of title, right? Because
without question,
so passionate about something that others would consider insignificant. Well, I can't think of something more significant than someone protecting our children.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I don't know what the man did in his earlier years. From listening to him, I'll bet it was just as impressive as his words regarding his involvement as a crossing guard.
That's all right. All right, so I'm going to definitely say you all should, when you're listening to this, make sure you reach out and try to get involved in our community, because this is where we live, love, work, play, and enjoy, and it's a great community, and that's why a lot of us never leave. we get
stuck in the bubble.
Even when we leave after high school, we all come back. All my friends are still here.
We have a good thing going.
It is a great thing, and thank you for helping us with that.
We're not done yet,
Mr.
either.
Mayor. All right, why don't you give us some, I know we had a little do-si-do, with elections coming up here, because I've seen also some names popping up.
We call this a sweet Lord. There is some activity going on, and it really kind of came to a head a week ago Friday, carried over into the early part of this past week, and that has to do with our state senator Sharon Runner making a decision, and rather a late hour, if I may say, that she did not intend to run for the next term, which is up in November, of course. So that kind of opened up the floodgate of discussion. If she's not going to go for that seat, then what's going to happen? Well, I can tell you ultimately what occurred is that we've got about 3 or 4 people that have filed the papers. They had to make up their mind and move quickly because you have to gather 40 signatures from registered voters and so forth to qualify. But the closeout was on Wednesday. But I found it interesting that our Assemblyman, Scott Wilk, made the decision that he would file for that position of state senator. Scott Wilkes should be in a very strong position to be successful because he certainly has a lot of name recognition. And the truth of the matter is, and I think people that pay attention know that Scott has represented his district quite well in Sacramento as a state assemblyman. Yeah, so with that in mind, all right, Mr. Wilk, you are now hypothetically going to become a state senator. But wait a minute, your midterm with your seat
is now
in the state assembly. See, so
that seat gets vacated.
That opens up that seat.
All right.
And then there's a scramble to, all right, who's going to run for that seat? And ultimately, I know there's about 3 or 4 probably all very qualified people, but I will make comment that my fellow council member, Dante Acosta, made the decision and did file his papers to run for the state assembly seat. And
yeah, I saw him at the Rotary Clock. When he broke that open, he was out there with his forms for people to sign and get.
That's exactly right.
Yep, I saw him there. But he's heavily involved in the community. He's jumped in both feet in his role.
And thank you for acknowledging that. And honestly,
I've known Dante for a long time.
Have you?
Yes.
He
in banking business back in the day.
Oh, you do know him for quite a while. He's doing a good job for us. He's doing a fine job for us as a city councilman, and he's very dedicated to the citizens of this valley. And in all candor, I hate to see him move on from his seat at the city council, but I know he would do a tremendous job for us in Sacramento. And, of course, if that should be the case, then we're going to have more interesting activities going on here in the city of Santa Clarita because he will have been leaving his seat midterm. And how do we deal with that? But none of this has any complete degree of certainty until after the election in November.
That is a true statement, but a lot of fun stuff going on all of a sudden. All right, well, thanks for the update regarding what's happening in our community and our state, obviously. Real quick little update with Burmite. You always give us a little update on what's going on with that, the Burmite cleanup.
Well, you know, the last time I was here, I indicated that it was anticipated that this calendar year that the surface cleanup would be completed on the Whitaker Burmite. And just for those that may not be completely familiar with it, it is basically that large block of land that is just south of the old Saugus Speedway going up the mountain and on the other side all the way over to the Circle J Ranch area. But that was a munitions manufacturing plant going all the way back to the 1920s or so, certainly throughout World War II, Vietnam, and all the way up until 1987, when they shut down their operations. And as a result of those operations, as we have learned over the years, so many of these types of businesses activities just didn't know any better and caused serious contamination to the earth, to the land. And so that has been worked upon in a myriad of ways, certainly longer than even I've been on the city council, but the cleanup of the surface was anticipated to be completed during this year, and now based upon the most recent meeting that we had with the Whitaker Burmite people and all the folks involved, it appears that will probably be more like middle to latter part of 2017. Before the final cleanup of the surface. And the water, as we've indicated before, is an aspect where they've got perchlorate in the water. It was discovered over a decade ago. Wells have either been shut down and no longer used for municipal purposes. Those wells were all part of our water resource system. But and for those that we have maintained or still have in any form of operation, that water goes through a special cleaning program where the perchlorate is literally non-detect when it comes out of that purification system. So it's an update, but as we continue to the Santa Clarita Valley and certainly the city of Santa Clarita moving forward, the Whitaker Burmite literally is in the middle of this city. It's 1,000 acres.
Wow.
And, it's a substantial piece of ground. And but I will tell you, the time will come and we will see what I hope to be very responsible development on it. I know that it is planned. There will be a lot of open space. Who knows? Maybe another golf course. That's always a nice thing.
Yeah,
there you go.
I'm okay with that.
There'll be some very
We'd have to get out of here once in a while, though, Gino.
I know. We try to break away so that we can go play a little bit. At least I make my attempt at playing. We'll call it that.
There's a couple of important road linkages that will go across it.
Yeah, that'd be
certainly
huge,
via
yeah.
Princessa to Wiley Canyon
That'd
is
be
the key
nice.
one.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the update on the Whitaker-Burmite. It's been a long, long road, and we're beginning to see daylight. And honestly, we can start thinking rather seriously about how we might move forward in some kind of a responsible development plan for that parcel of land.
Well, always enjoy having you on the show. Thank you for always giving us great updates of what's happening in our community. Thank you for giving back to our community so much. I mean, again and again, you can't even get away from us. We just keep, voting you back in, four-time mayor. Good
What do they
friend.
say? Don't fix it if it ain't broken.
Yeah, yeah. And we've been friends for a long time, Bob, and I enjoy you as a person and how heavily you're involved. There's hardly an event or a charity event through the last 15 years that I know of that I always see you at on a regular basis. So thank you for giving back so much.
I appreciate your compliment, and I openly tell you guys, make no mistakes about it. I really do. I care about this city. It's
No
my
doubt about
home.
it.
I love this city, and I love the people in it.
All right.
Yeah.
So how can they get a hold of you if they need some help with some real estate, and your other job?
Well, I certainly wouldn't turn that away, I'll tell you. Probably the easiest way is just call our primary office, and depending on your needs, we'll assist you however we can. But that's 299-5570, 299-5570, or go to the Kellar Davis website.
All right.
Excellent.
Well, thanks again, Bob. We're going to let you get back to helping out our city and our community, and we really appreciate you being part of our show again. Always fun. And all of you out there, have a great Saturday. Thank you for joining the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show every Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Check us out at donandgino.com. Have a great weekend and be good humans.